Welcome to Battletech Blades of Honor Season 2, Episode 3, the year 3047. I am your narrator, APGamingREAL, and I'm joined by Neobuzzard as Siegfried Arnsson, Raddosaurus as Akari Genji, and GrimDarkJames as Kyeda Hiro. We find ourselves in the position of finally accomplishing what the trailer of this show said. Battles between the conservative and the reformers. The ongoing plot lines that we have right now. Hiro has been ordered by the internal security forces to observe Brigadier General Eisenhughes and his reformer factions. This has unintentionally dragged all of the party into the deception. The other characters are not aware of this, and they have willingly joined the reformers, possibly putting themselves in grave danger. All three of you must prove yourselves before truly joining them by arranging a battle against Whittington and baiting both sides into further conflict. Neobuzzard is, his character, Siegfried Arnsson, is trying to get married and have a kid to carry on the line. Rad, as Akari Genji, is attempting to fight his dad, Isoroku. The Genji house has completed its takeover of the Shinsen Society of the Yakuza, and now must deal with the aftermath of the terrible murders they committed in order to steal control of the family. Akari herself is attempting to retake her ancestral arms factory. Speaking of Yakuza, one of the plots that's in the air is that the Yakuza are involved in Siegfried's hotel and are further planning to use the hotel as a lodestone to draw the hostile Yakuza to it and defeat them with above-board government forces, weakening their foes and weakening their local government control under your banner so that the local Yakuza becomes stronger. This has caught Siegfried in the gravity of the underworld. Shiro and Koji, son and father, a battle for sovereignty over the Nosagi clan line, and the title of Shugo of Hangatsu Bay, and Akira's plan to subvert this conflict into her own control. At least 10 separate plot lines are in the air, and all of these parts spin in the wind, in the wind, like leaves from the vine, blowing across the planet in blood-red petals as a prelude to conflict. There is no stopping what is coming now. The society will change. Great, Rad. Was that a good recap? Because you were saying earlier
really
you didn't
yes,
remember
Arthur.
what the plot lines were. It's a good
Absolutely.
thing that last week I wrote this.
Now I want to ask you a bunch of questions about the show that I've been a part of the entire time. I'm like, well, this sounds like such a good show. Tell me more.
Great, because this is open-ended. All of you and your mechs are at Miros, at the military base that's here, the Planetary Defense Forces headquarters, the militia headquarters. You're free to go anywhere on the planet and do anything. You've been given a slush fund, a black budget for launching an attack on Whittington. You've taken that, and Rad is trying to convince you that you should bait a trap here locally. Some of you would like to try to bribe the space station over Whittington with insiders and do like a close range attack to take over the space station or destroy it. There's all sorts of stuff, and it's up to you guys to decide where you want to go right now. Plots that you don't remember to get involved with or don't have the time will advance without you. For instance, Isoroku Genji is going to wander around and continue to cause philosophical battles, which could be good or bad for him.
Now, if I remember, is he's in somebody's crosshairs at this point?
So he's not technically a reformer, but he's like ancient Greek philosopher. He's just kind of wandering around and going, I'm just asking questions. Why do we run society this way? Why does the military do this in particular? Like, I've battled my entire life to integrate myself like this. I feel like we should be asking ourselves, why aren't we doing more for our veterans? Why aren't we preparing for peace with the Davians? Why aren't we allowing Yakuza to join our ranks? Why do we solely give samurai and lords access to battle mechs? Why isn't it the most capable members? Why do we shout our ancestry while charging directly at the enemy? Right? Like, is one-on-one battle. Sure, it proves our skill, but is that sound military strategy? At what point does our personal honor outweigh our duty and obligation to the people of the Draconis Combine?
And how does that jive with the son of the Baron, the son of the Shogun?
I mean,
is it at odds? Is it parallel?
Hiro hasn't taken stances along these lines so far. The thing to note is that he's pretending to be like a real, like, kind of maverick sharpshooter type deal, but in actuality, he's like a ultra conservative, very orthodox, and he's just trying to gather whatever power he can quickly. So he's pretending to be this, like, haha, I'm a playboy. I'm Tony Stark.
Right.
But in actuality, he's General Ross.
So
I'm trying to put it in Marvel terms for you. That's really
philosophically, he would not be in line with what my dad is walking around as sponging if he's on the conservative side.
Your dad isn't actually taking sides. He's asking questions.
No, but he's definitely like he's reformer leaning. Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying.
He's taking the stance that if you can't explain why you're doing this, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Is it a worthy cause to continue doing something just because it was done this way in the past? He's looking for answers that he doesn't have. Now,
isn't the current... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing, is these are dangerous questions to ask in some ways. He has quite a bit of status as a military war hero and an officer and a former house lord. But these are dangerous questions.
I may have lost audio for a second.
Good, because you're the one person who needs to know about your dad's misadventures.
No. I caught what you said. What you said. Okay. So how... I just want to... I think I know all this. I just want to make sure I remember it correctly. The son Shiro wants to succeed his father.
Yes.
How did is his father not also conservative?
So far, from what you've seen from Koji no Saki, he tries not to take stances on things and allows his second in command to kind of direct things.
Mm-hmm.
You recall that what's this guy's name again? Goodness. See, I didn't think I'd need to have my document list of all of the people. Sung Cho. He normally has Lord Sung Cho carry out his decisions so that he can't be said to have been responsible for them, right? He takes the credit for the good stuff, and then he blames the bad stuff on his underlings. It's a classic management use in this culture. With that said, he was upset that you would start conflict with the Davians, right? He was outrightly upset enough from it to take your family's arms factory away from you. So I wouldn't say he's a pacifist, but he certainly is not a hawk.
Right. We presumed that was because it wasn't his idea, though.
Your presumptions and the reality of things are possibly two different things.
And now we're jumping the chain. We're going above his head to his boss or his boss's boss.
This is the military governor of the planet. So completely separate chain of command from the political.
And he wants us to escalate the conflict.
He does.
And James is secretly not spying, but
observing.
Hiro is on the lookout for activity exactly like the activity we're about to engage in.
Yes.
To report on it.
Correct.
Presumably in a negative fashion, like these guys are up to no good.
Well,
I have infiltrated these hooligans.
The thing is, when military intelligence sends a trainee undercover, they don't say whether it's good or bad, or they just tell you to do it, you know?
No. But yeah, okay. I can buy that.
They're not required to explain themselves. But again, this is the Battletech universe.
I got you.
This is a secret police military intelligence organization that's run by a dude who's called the Smiling One. All right? That doesn't happen in real life.
No. Well,
or maybe it does.
People smile, but we don't call them that usually.
We don't call them the Smiling Man.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good. And now we're here at this training exercise, about to watch these guys fight each other.
The training exercise is over.
Okay.
Right. That was the last episode, was you observed it, and Eisen Hughes was like, okay, well, you've seen how things are going. I want to heat things up. I want to take the next step. Join me and prove yourself.
And then he handed us
a big pile of money.
Right.
It's about enough to hire a battalion of mechs.
An American Express Black, and he's like, here you go.
Now, for the folks at home, we started super late, so there's only about 20 minutes left in this episode.
Let's talk about
speedrun.
So the recap is about a third of the episode.
Yeah. So at this point, we're all together on Akari's boat, right? Which is the most secure location in the city, intelligence-wise.
It's so secure, you've invited an undercover military intelligence officer on board with you.
In my opinion, it's incredibly secure. There's no way anybody could pin me down on this one. Yeah, are you guys good with that? Are we meeting about what we want to do? What our possible courses of action are?
Yes.
I think we had discussed bringing or hiring like mercenary aerospace fighters. And having them attack the space station, the
Ivory Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Ivory Tower.
Trying to bring down the space station.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed a trap of some kind, and we discussed installing some terrorist cells to infiltrate, disrupt, and collect intelligence. I would think would kind of be the commander's intent on that. What are our thoughts as far as the viability of each of those, and where we would like to allocate our efforts and funding, or if we have new ideas about different strategies?
I have some thoughts for the aerospace assets, which I think could also lead us to setting up some kind of trap.
Okay.
Presuming the mercenaries, survive their mission. But I don't really have too many ideas on anything else.
I think we talked about kind of a two-pronged assault on the skyhook or whatever, the space station, to incorporate both the physical aerospace attack and then also somebody on the inside muddying up the sensor operations, basically, so that they could approach unmolested.
How do we get that person on the inside, I guess is a question. Assuming we haven't already got them already.
I mean, I don't know, Arthur. Would I know much about putting a plant somewhere as a Yakuza person?
So you personally left a former Yakuza agent on Whittington.
Yes.
Now, there is the slight problem that you personally recently committed a high-profile attack on the planet, and probably anyone associated with you is going to be looked at with grave suspicion. And because of the nature of, I don't want to say racial tensions, but let's say nationalist tendencies, they're probably going to be checking foreigners, especially Draconis Combine-tied people, in the wake of a big attack.
We dropped him off pretty secretly
Right, but
But I catch what
the
you're saying, though.
so it's not just him, right? You'd love to get the local crime families involved as well.
Right.
They're going to be looked at pretty closely in the wake of a massive terrorist attack where you set fire to a building and killed a lord.
So
it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to move around right now.
Who is not a person of interest that works in the space station that has vulnerabilities that can be exploited?
I'll tell you what, if you can hit an 8 on a culture criminal, I will let you summon fish.
Ooh.
Now, for those who don't watch Oath of Endosteel, Fish is Eric Vulgaris' character. His dad basically set this old former police officer who had been kind of dishonorably discharged to be his handler and fixer, to keep him from fucking up. And then Eric's character fucked up so much that Fish eventually punched him in the face and left. So this is like a rogue agent who's thoroughly corrupt. He has absolutely no loyalty to anybody. He knows where all the bodies are buried. And on an 8, you can get in contact with him.
So would you say this is culture criminal intelligence?
I would say charisma.
Okay, then it's just a +1.
Okay, those dice are coming down. That's a 1 and a 3.
So that's a 5, so I'll spend my reroll.
Okay. You got a praise, man. That's a 1 and a 2.
Worse. Okay. No dice.
Okay, so yeah, it's not even that you can't get in contact with Fish. You can't get in contact with anybody. Like the entire criminal underworld is pulling away from you right now. Your own Yakuza group is waiting for you to like reveal yourself publicly. Right? You're undercover, you've shown nobody your tattoo, you're the chief enforcer, but even the other people in the organization don't actually know that because no leaks, right? If your position gets leaked early, it's going to cause a lot of problems for you. Mm-hmm, other Yakuza on the planet want nothing to do with you because you literally went to another Yakuza's territory and beat the shit out of one of their guys and then offloaded somebody off planet. Like the people on Whittington, you just made their lives a living hell. So literally no one in the criminal underworld on 2 planets wants anything to do with you.
Well, I don't reach out to them personally, but I don't know. With that role, maybe I do. Maybe I do with that role, and everybody's like, no.
No one is answering your calls.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Okay. You shit in my bed, not again.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, I'm having trouble establishing any sort of internal assets on the attack. So I don't know if you guys have other avenues that you want to attempt. But I think it seems like I'm not going to be able to get much done in the AO. I'm going to have to spend my resources and my attention probably here, either on a trap or setting up defenses or something of that nature, because I'm not in a good position to be able to influence externally at this point.
I mean, obviously, they're not the sort of resources I have access to. So if that precludes having a man on the inside for the purposes of the attack on the space station, then we have to rule that out.
Yeah.
Akari nods, but out of character, obviously. The character with all of the access to the giant spy network. He's like, I don't have any resources for this.
I don't think that that's the way Hiro looks at himself. I think he sees himself as
I agree.
As a cog in the machine, not the machine itself. So
I think
maybe there's some more mercenary resources we can bring to bear with your expertise.
So what I'm thinking is my plan is essentially as a front and a back to it. On the front part, we go ahead and hire a jump ship that's already in system, like in Whittington, to wait to extract our guys, then have our guys essentially jump in, launch the attack, then go back to the ship that's waiting, and that ship can immediately jump back to our system, and then we just pay the aerospace guys to hang out at the jump point.
Now look, I don't want to say that's not a good plan. However, that is the exact plan you just used, and they're probably not going to let you pull it off a second time. You know what I mean? Loitering jump ships are probably the first thing they're going to be looking at for the exact reason you're using it.
How well is it known about Akari's actions against Whittington? I mean, is it
extremely public?
Extremely public. Okay. So
front page news on multiple planets.
Let me throw an alternate solution out here.
Uh-oh. Here it goes. Stand back, everybody. He's cooking. Hold on. It's going to be nasty, whatever he comes up with.
We stage a false flag attack as Whittington on one of our own resources in retaliation for Akari's actions. And so if the actual forces of Whittington then try to make some maneuver, that becomes an over-escalation. They risk pushing, they're the ones then pushing towards war rather than the Combine.
So James is talking about a concept that you can learn about in the West Wing.
So what does this achieve?
What is the virtue of a proportional response?
Right. It limits their ability to respond. But does it advance our ability to be offensive? Or just limit their ability to be offensive?
I mean,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, the idea here is to neuter our opponent's ability to damage us, or at least to make it so costly that if they were to do so, they would only be damaging themselves more. So
you just get an even bigger blank check.
I mean, to stage a fake raid, you don't need a full battalion of mechs.
No.
Even a lance running around in some backwoods, blowing some shit up. You need to use, I mean, you have to use an enormous amount of money, but compared to what you have, it's not really that much.
Our mission is just to escalate the conflict, right?
Yeah.
Or they want actually, are they trying to escalate towards war, or they just want to damage Whittington more?
I don't think that Brigadier General Eisenhughes used precise language.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you above the board that the plan is to push both sides, not towards like a full war, but towards a hot border conflict, because that means more resources, more money, more attention. It means even though it increases the risk they'll be attacked, it also means that the local forces will be much better defended. You know, it's a classic, this guy wants to move up the ladder, and in order to do so, he needs to make his star shine. The brave general on the frontier holding back the barbarian hordes while being assailed by them, that's a good look. It's a classic.
Well, I mean, if we would consider a false flag, we can make the response disproportionate, and that way then our forces then have a pre-context towards a response.
I was going to ask, how blank of a check are we talking here? Because
1 battalion of mercenary mechs for 1 op. So we're talking enough to hire about 100 battle mechs for 1 battle. See, the thing is, if I give you an exact number, that's not good. Because then you're going to be like, well, what if we just bought mechs and then trained our own warriors and this, that, and the next thing and subdivided it? But
do we have enough to just
it's a big fucking pile of money.
Do we have enough to just... And I know, like, lore-wise, I guess we would never do this, but could we just buy, like, a sacrificial dropship and fly it into the space station?
All right, let's be very clear here. As an American, what you're discussing right now hurts a lot, okay?
But we also know that it works. Okay.
Yeah. It's
It'll
not that
definitely
far.
escalate the situation.
It's only been 2 months since September, guys.
Oh my
We got to
God.
relax about this. Yes, you have enough money to buy a sacrificial dropship. Although, again, I have to tell you, the exact plan you're attempting to use is something they will absolutely be looking for because you just did it. Now,
I mean,
the end game may not have been slamming a
dropship.
dropship, right? But they're going to be checking the jump ships and dropships that come into the system to make sure they are who they say they are and not let them get close, right? Tensions are already higher.
Look, we get a dropship, and we pirate like whatever its VIN number
Right.
from Pondo's business, and we make it look like it's from Pondo's mech selling business, so that it's a legitimate visitor.
I'll say this. Staging a real attack on a dropship, killing the crew, and then replacing it with people loyal to you, willing to go on a suicide mission, is a viable option.
Say that again.
Imagine you staged a commando raid on a civilian dropship that's on planet, like trading things.
On our planet?
Yes. Imagine
Okay.
you successfully kill everyone on board and keep them from purging all the documentation, all the UI stuff, all the like engineering files, and now you have a perfectly working dropship that you can just say, "I'm Captain Spartacus," and now you have a legitimate trader that you can send on a suicide mission as long as you have someone suicidal enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from a production point of view, it's a lot easier to have you guys lead a small unit attack on a dropship to do a no Russian on a bunch of people inside the dropship.
I like that. I like the false flag too. I'm not sure how to marry them together.
Well, I think my issue is that if we talk about escalation here, usually one side escalates, then the other side escalates. We've taken the first step, and it's hard for us to then escalate again without
A reprisal.
Yeah,
I ask you
because
again, Fitz, what is the value of a proportional response? Sorry, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
Well, I don't know. My out of character brain is thinking Arthur is giving us 100 mech battalion resource, like as a one-time expenditure. He's absolutely giving the same thing to the other show. Are 100 mechs going to show up on our planet and start fucking blowing everything up? You know what I mean?
you I'm not giving them a 100 mercenary mech expenditure.
Okay. Because they have nukes.
You've seen the show. You know that those are not working nukes, right? Let's be clear. Those
they worked. They were just like unstable.
No, they're a festering pile of Here's the thing about shitty old nukes is that they're not very good.
Yeah, it's like the nukes in June. You know, they're all locked away in a mountain cave somewhere.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. I feel like
the way that the Oath of Endosteel Knights deal with their problems is very different than this group that has fully embraced what I'm going to call less than honorable content.
My first guess would be they just come over here in 3 battle mechs and attempt to fight us. Like that's what I think they're going to try to do. To be entirely honest,
that's how they did it on Oath of Endosteel in the last generation. But of course, the amount of mechs on each planet has increased exponentially.
I think both Sam and
Eric
are very tactical minded.
Yeah.
But Eric is also a true role player, and his character is not very tactically minded. So I don't see him betraying that character quality.
It's high level metagaming. Not only are you looking over their shoulder to figure out what their tactics are,
I'm analyzing them as people.
You're playing the people rather than the game.
I have to. That's what I'm trained to do. Yeah, I think this is the 1-2 punch then, do you think? I think we do the false flag, to show that they retaliated, and then we retaliate with the dropship thing. So it looks like a back and forth, even though it's us orchestrating every step. So after we do the false flag, if they choose to do an aggression, they'll look extra bad because it'll look like they did 2 aggressions in a row, and then we'll respond with the
suicide
dropship
attack.
I think so. I think that's a really cost-effective.
So we've built the body of a plan on the skeleton of James's proportional response.
And I think we need to spend some money, not all of it. We need to keep in reserve some to have like just to beef up defenses in general, I feel like. Right. If they're on the lookout and increase security for jump ships and drop ships, we need to be doing the same thing. We need to be keeping a close eye on all of that. So we need to increase whatever's happening with our extra orbital sort of security.
I don't know that you all have access to that sort of, you know what I mean? Like,
probably not.
Well, I mean, that would just be hiring like aerospace mercenaries.
Sure.
Like aerospace fighters.
Look,
you putting up patrols is not the same thing as raising the planetary threat level. You know what I mean? Like, what Rad is discussing is way outside your capability.
Right. I guess it would be more like a communicative effort to be like, hey, we recommend that this happen to the military governor.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that what Akari did was start a fire in a building that caused a number of casualties. So a military response to that would be overwhelming anyway. So if we were to sustain something that we claim that they believe is proportional, it needs to be more of a man-op that then goes out of control and causes massive civilian casualties. Something that would then necessitate us making a military response to, or a shock and awe response, like the use of a civilian dropship to destroy a civilian space station.
Let me ask you this, Arthur. The Akari factory, is it currently being manned by a bunch of the Shogun's people?
No, it's
I would have them. We would blow that up for sure.
Your workers are on strike, if you recall.
My workers are on strike.
Yes, if
so
you
who's
recall,
running the factory?
No one is. Well,
no one.
The Baron is running the factory, and he sent through Lord Chung's show. He sent a question like, "How do we get the factory working again?" And you sent him back the wrong instructions.
Yeah.
Right.
A really important machine isn't working, and the guy that's got to come and fix it has been delayed by 4 weeks. So it's all down tools right now, guys. We can't work safely. It's definitely the union is heavily involved here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is the Shugo going to attempt to replace the workers with someone more loyal to him? Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's going to get scabs in there for sure.
Right.
It's going to take time, though.
Especially when
it's going to take time because the scabs are going to show up and the first wave are going to disappear in the middle of the night and be found floating in the ocean.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
If you're prepared to spend that as a resource, that is actually quite a good, because it makes a personal attack have a personal response, but it just needs to be something that gets out of control and causes way more civilian casualties than it would otherwise have been planned to. It needs to look sloppy and have then led to.
So just to be clear, this is Akari calling the Yakuza and being like, "Don't go into work tomorrow."
Maybe, right? That's a little bit what I'm thinking. Is we can have the attack do. I don't know. Is it possible to make it look like catastrophic damage, but actually have it be superficial? And
to spread to other things quickly, and
unfortunately, I would point out that you specifically said the factory was in the middle of the mountains, far away.
It is kind of a mountain fortress.
Yes.
How about can I offer up the casino? Is that near anything civilian?
The casino is, as noted, between the tourist district and the harbor district. So. It is at the edge of the important parts of the city.
we need there to be civilian casualties, is what you're saying, right, James?
There's a bridge right next to it that is pretty much totally necessary to get to the eastern coast.
Now, the other thing is, I don't know the people of Whittington, and if your family has connections there, like, we need to know how we can ensure that this looks like enough like them that the propaganda engine can do the rest of the work.
I mean, I don't know if I know any more about them than you do, other than that they're just Davians. It's not like we don't have a plethora of data on how Davians do business. They're a bunch of, egotistical, self-righteous Davian nobles born with the silver spoons in their mouths. They're going to respond as if they have the upper hand and always have had, because that's probably the only way they've ever lived. So I think they'll do something personal and audacious. So I think anything that falls into that category would be a pretty genuinely believable response for them.
I mean, it can be as simple as a captured saboteur who, under questioning, reveals that his masters were the forces of Whittington.
I mean, we can certainly employ forces that look Whittington-ish, that look Davian. I'm sure the mechs that they pilot are no secret. We can get the same, have them painted up to look like this house of, what was it? What's Sam's? Damn. McDougal. This house of McDougal.
I have a weird suggestion to throw out here. I haven't fully cooked it yet. I've just been thinking about it weirdly. Is there any merit in tying the Yakuza attack, the upcoming potential Yakuza attack on the hotel, and somehow planting evidence that those Yakuza families are actually in the work and employ of Whittington? And thus, you solve a whole bunch of problems all at the same time.
I would hate for you to lose the casino that it just finally got done being built.
If we didn't, they just broke ground.
Oh, I guess
we just broke ground.
But I forgot about that. But it's intriguing, though, to tie these two problems together,
right?
And be like, all the huge civilian casualties, but they're actually, we've set a trap for all those Yakuzas to come in, and we've killed them instead, and now we're claiming they're our civilian casualties, or like Arthur said, blaming them, as a Davian asset on the ground to help spark this this incursion.
Then you get your local government against the bad Yakuzas, and you get your impetus to perform a counterattack against.
So this wouldn't involve a staged mercenary attack at all. It would just be pointing the finger at these Yakuza and saying they're Davians.
We could do things like we could hire a merchant dropship to go, taking a circuitous route from Whittington to Valentina and say, our evidence shows that the saboteurs snuck onto planet aboard this dropship, for example. We can lay an orgy of evidence out to support our claims if we plan it properly.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. I like the two birds, one stone. I also considered throwing in, at first I thought we could fake Akari's death in the attack to really throw some mustard on it. But we could also, if we didn't want to do that extreme, we could make it seem like, maybe she was fatally wounded or she's in critical condition, right? We can make it seem like they over-responded, right? Mm-hmm. I'm perfectly willing to do that, to pretend to be laid up in a hospital bed.
I'm going to be honest with you. I know we're saying that this is about the fire, but you did fucking assassinate a guy. So you only being somewhat wounded is not a proportional response.
No.
That's a failure to achieve equality.
It won't be just me, though. It'll be a bunch of civilians, too,
okay,
right?
Sure.
And then having me involved as the target, and that also...
this is Whittington's botched assassination caused a mass casualty event that the Combine cannot ignore and has to respond to.
That's 100% the goal. to stage a botched assassination.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while everyone thinks Akari's light up in the hospital, she's actually assisting leading a raid on a civilian dropship that we're gonna.
Yeah.
The suicide dropship, just to be clear.
Oh, to claim it, not to, you know.
Right.
Yeah, not to fly it, but to help take it.
Right.
Akari Genji's last ride, shiny chrome.
Yeah. Witness.
Okay.
It's just the Jenner sitting on the front of a leopard.
Yeah.
It sounds like we have the concept of a plan.
I think so.
And I think this is not other than the fact that we're looking to hire a dropship, and we've got to spend a lot of money in terms of fabrication of evidence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there'll actually be quite a bit of money there, so that once Wellington is ready to make their response, if we need to commit additional funds to, I mean, obviously, this gives the precedent to our military commander to also bolster his forces, but you know we can use what's left over to effectively prepare for their inevitable response.
Because it's 100% in his favor for us to stage this, and he goes, "Oh my God, look what's happened!" And then his funding goes up, and he's able to, spike all of his presence everywhere across the planet, and he gets what he wants big time out of this. So I feel like that's probably kudos to us. How does the Baron respond to this plan?
I don't think we're taking this plan to the Baron.
We're not. But when it all unfolds, what do we anticipate? What his reaction will be?
Well, it's an attack on Hangetsu Bay. So I think he will need to respond as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, this puts him even more not in the pocket, but he if there is a response from the military, he owes the military for that, for saving his honor as such. He doesn't have the forces to send against Whittington, and the military is able to coordinate this dropship attack.
It also puts us in a good standing because he can't afford to shun or treat us poorly.
Because ultimately,
we're
going to be
responsible for saving the city. Yeah,
we're going to be there to repel the fake attack, right? That's a big part of it.
Yeah, and you were grievously injured in the process.
And
so you should, of course, be given supreme executive authority.
Yeah. Yes. When this crisis is over, I will lay down my power.
I love democracy.
I think I love feudalism is definitely a pretty strong selling point for sure. The people at the top definitely love feudalism.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so it sounds like we have the skeleton of a plan to work on. We're at the end of the night here.
Yeah.
If you want to take the time to do homework before the next episode and come up with actionable points of where you'd like to do and what roles you'd like to push things forward, that would be good. Are we good for next week?
I am.
I think so.
I'm always good unless I get an interview, basically. So,
I'm going to say yes. I believe so.
Tentatively, we could have a back-to-back episode. Wouldn't that be crazy?
we just need to stay ahead of the Oath of Endosteel guys. So they're always playing defense.
We want to have enacted our next 3 plans before they can respond to the first one. I should be good next week. Yeah.
They just keep yelling. They keep false flagging us.
Yeah, we just keep attacking ourselves over and over again.
It's like some sort of spiffing Brit exploit strategy.
After we suicide bomb their space station, what's the next thing they're going to do to us, guys? They're going to assassinate the Baron.
It's only a matter of time until we go.
And his son.
Are we the bad guys?
Yeah, are we the bad guys?
James really putting in the work here for his ISF agent prep. False flags left and right, mass civilian casualties as cover,
evidence orgies, all the good stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, look, he's got to put all that good training to use.
Oh, yeah.
Any closing thoughts about this 40-minute episode that really compressed all of the fucking wacky ideas?
I feel like you're low-key throwing a lot of shade at me, Arthur.
I'm not throwing shade at anyone in particular,
this
Brad.
40-minute episode.
I just want it to be made clear that this episode was only 40 minutes long.
It's clear.
This was a fantastic session. Unfortunately, the best part of the session happened before Ali hit record.
Yeah, we asked him many times to record.
Our intro hour was awesome.
He
We
refused.
were talking Disney.
Yeah.
We were talking movies. Yep. It was like all the stuff that you love and miss.
And at
on the
least
AP
one
Gamer
point,
channel.
someone said, "We're not recording, right?" So just to be clear,
Geopolitical hot takes, all of it. It was all in there, guys. You missed
And
it
it was a
all.
literal hour of intro.
did we do geopolitical hot takes? I feel like I avoided that.
Yeah, you might have not had your headphones on at that point, but we talked about it.
Okay. I'm trying to avoid
I might have
geopolitical
zoned out
hot
for that
takes
part of the
lately.
conversation.
Yeah, no, I made that up. We didn't
Okay.
talk about that.
Okay.
That's good. I would hate to have not remembered.
I'm a little scared y'all didn't remember whether or not that happened or not. It wasn't that long ago, guys.
A lot
It's been a
happened.
long-
It was an
You're like, wait a minute.
hour-long intro.
Wait a minute, what did we talk about?
Listen, I said we didn't do it. You can't gaslight me now into being like, well, we almost did. No, we didn't.
We
And I
could've.
remembered it correctly. Don't try to turn this back around on me.
That's what I do. I'm going to Japan as a subject matter expert on civil military influence and manipulation. So,
Wow. Deeply upsetting given our current game content.
You can explain false flagging to them.
exactly. Yeah. No, I'm going to consult for the Japanese military on a Japanese training exercise.
Do you have business cards, Brad?
But not for that.
Okay.
I did. I don't have my current job now. I used to.
Okay. Because there's a whole system around giving and receiving business cards in Japan. That's one of the things that I learned about traveling there. Is the bit like there's the right and wrong way to do business in Japan.
Is it where you just write your phone number on a sticky note and then press it to their forehead? Because that's usually what I do.
In the U.S. military, I think
Yeah,
that
to
probably
soldiers, that's what I do.
works.
Yeah.
That's right. And anything other than an outright yes is an automatic no. Maybe, possibly, it could happen. All that means no. They just don't like saying no.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I usually just write my phone number and then my call sign, Liberace glitter balls, and just slap that right on their forehead.
That was your call sign
Let
at
them-
Battletech as well.
That's where I came from. That was my first call sign in the Army.
Okay. What an incredible call sign.
There's going to be a story behind that, which I think I think we need to leave the audience in the dark about.
Yeah, it's just me and my dumb friend competing to see who could come up with the stupidest call sign.
We're gonna say shame. You should have saved it. Could have put it as a Patreon exclusive.
That's true. Well,
That's
I won't
not my
tell you.
friend.
I'll tell you what. I won't tell you what his was, and he won. So that goes.
It's like a friend of mine. She got mice as pets, and she decided because mice are so small that they need really big names. So they had names like Hercules and John III. That sort of thing. So yeah.
Oh, I'm just glad we're
This-
getting through this.
This is premium content here, AP.
Premium content.
Premium
Listen,
content.
I have to let you guys run your wild ass shit around to let you work through your process so that we can distill it down to the one plan. All right? We spent 40 minutes on the plan today, and you guys said some incredibly whack shit until we finally distilled it down into a good sketch. Yeah, James, just let me cook, all right? Let me brew, all right?
Okay.
Just let me brew. I let you guys brew. Let me brew.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
You have to distill it all to the one modicum of non-insanity that exists within all of it.
I don't know how over the last minute I've been thinking how much I want to talk about the Endosteel thing. The thing is that we only have like one session coming up, but we record every other week. I think I'm going to reveal that there's been a push for us to have more sessions so that we get at least 4 before the end of the year to kind of up our tempo. So, I mean, there's a very strong possibility that we go from having an episode once a month to having a solid month of episodes until
them, really?
mid-December. Yeah.
Wow.
What was the
hit next
Battletech?
4.
What was about the thing you ran AP where you had the two groups and you had the whole like the grid map of all the worlds we controlled and the forces, and everyone got to vote on where they sent their forces.
Project Athena, yeah.
Project Athena, yeah. I remember when we did that. Like,
I'm doing
the
something
group,
like that for these two shows.
But the group that I was in, we were like, all sort of talking about it on Discord and working out what we're going to do, and like we were also like, this can't look this, there's no way they put in this much planning. We've got them like, we've got everything exactly where it needs to be, and then we got absolutely wrecked in the first turn, and we're like. So I fully suspect here we're going to come away with this plan is this, no one can beat this plan.
This plan is
and then we'll get there.
Yeah,
that's right. And then we're going to get lubed up right before we get fucked.
Right.
There definitely was a side that was way more involved intergroup wise than the other. Wow, Project Athena. I try to pretend like that never happened.
It's another 1 and a 5 re-rolled into 1 and a 2.
yeah. Exactly.
Real Raddosaurus rolls right there.
Time to pivot the entire plan. I haven't had a lot of successful rolls here in the last couple episodes. That's okay.
And that's with the power to re-roll.
It's the power of many, some would say.
Oh my God. I saw that quote from a Star Wars executive that was like, Rey is the most marketable potential we have right now. We're going to put her in everything. And I'm just like, who are you consulting for that info? What focus group is telling you that? Is it yourself?
Yeah.
Have you asked anyone ever?
Have you just been reading your own tweets only for the last,
I want to imagine a world where Rey is more marketable than Baby Yoda. Forget Grogu. Just remember when it was called Baby Yoda, and there were 10,000 Baby Yoda plushes on all Etsy, and everyone had it on a fucking shirt or a backpack. All right? Does Rey have that kind of sticking power? No. Let's be real. Let's be real. No. The tiny little baby is more marketable than anything else in Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone who wants more Balin Skull content.
Yeah.
And that guy from Andor who went, Corporate Security Forces! He's not coming back. He's fucking dead, man.
I think it asked more Stellan Skarsgård from Andor. So.
Oh, yeah, yelling in the under streets of Luthien.
Yeah.
Just being like, what's his name? What is the name of the guy he's talking to? I don't remember. He's like, come with me, Scotty, or something like that.
I'll burn my future for a dawn I'll never see.
Stay with me.
I think that whole monologue, fighting for the sunrise you'll never see, it might be my next tattoo, to be honest.
Must use the tools of my enemy.
Yeah. I think that's some of the best dialogue in all of Star Wars.
Well, it's definitely not. They fly now? Got him. Now, as the last thing I want to say here, let me remind you, someone in a writer's room in Star Wars got an executive to sign off on the line, somehow Palpatine returned. Someone was paid real American dollars, and an executive was also paid real American dollars to put that in a movie as a serious line of dialogue.
Not only that, they have a whole movie based on the concept.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
In some way we can't really figure out because it doesn't make any sense. It happened.
Imagine having Poe Dameron in your cast list, and the most consequential thing he says all movie is, somehow Palpatine returned.
Wow.
I'm assuming the person who greenlit that line is the same motherfucker who's like, Rey is the most crucial resource we have right now.
Yeah, her name is Kathleen Kennedy. She should have been
you can't
removed
invoke
years
that
ago.
name here.
I did. I know she who shall not be named.
I prefer she who cannot be named. That's a Brandon Sanderson reference. Don't worry about it. Their name is really long and difficult to pronounce.
Someday
right.
we'll get quality Star Wars content again. Hopefully,
Yeah,
in my
Andor
lifetime.
Season 2.
Yeah.
We're going to learn that Andor Season 2 is just a Loki Season 3 tie-in where they multiverse. That's it. I'm stopping the recording now.